Hi, everybody. Welcome. Let's see who we've got here. Second interview of this week. We're spoiling you. Let's see who we've got jumping on. Give you a little moment to figure out that we're here. Whilst I set my page up, as ever. So I'm just going to, hold on. Okay, sorry, I still haven't mastered the doing and talking and speaking at the same time. really should get that happening. Okay, I think we are now, I think I'm all set up and we've got people here. That's great. So good morning. Well, good morning from in the UK here. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us here on our interview with WiseOceans series, the second one of the week. And today we're really excited to welcome Adam Broadbent from ZuBlu Diving. Adam's combined business and technology, his background, and also underwater photography and diving, passion for the oceans as well, to create ZuBlu Diving, kind of revolutionizing the hospitality and diving industry combined, really working with people who want to care for our oceans. So fantastic. And I know this is going to be a great fit for our audience, whether or not you're looking to work in the marine conservation sector in sort of the broadest sense, as well as some of our other viewers who perhaps just love diving, and why wouldn't you? So Adam's got a really interesting story to tell, and I think will be a great addition to our suite of interviews that we've got. So welcome, Adam.
Thank you very much for having me.
I should also say Adam's coming live from Bali today. Might not be able to tell from his background, but he's in Bali.
No, trying to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're out there with the view, you don't get so much of the internet. Island internet being what it is.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we're based out in Bali in Indonesia, and then we've also got a team all over the world as well. But great to be part of the suite of interviews. Hopefully I can add some value.
That's it. I mean, I think one of the reasons we do this is there are so many people out there who've been through the struggles and figured it, gone through all those ideas and opportunities. And I think to share that with people who are perhaps beginning their careers is a really, really helpful thing, hopefully a little bit inspirational. So we're happy to add this to there's the suite, our own suite of things that we do as WiseOceans, which is quite broad.
Yeah.
So I've given you a brief introduction there, Adam, but if you could maybe just tell us a little bit more about yourself, what your current position is, and the route that you got to get there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of ZuBlu, as Charlotte mentioned. ZuBlu is essentially a travel platform for scuba diving and ocean experiences across the world. We are kind of maybe in a bit go back to where the idea came from in a way, but essentially ZuBlu, we've really carefully curated a collection of now over 600 resorts, liveaboards, operators, or organizations that are selected not just for the incredible experiences they offer, but also their focus on conservation and also improving their eco-friendliness kind of in their business operations. So not everyone's perfect. It's all the little green steps on the way, and we're trying to kind of showcase those the most. So that's sort of, we're very keen to support the operator side and showcasing the best. But we also have a big focus obviously on the customer and helping them make more sustainable travel choices and great travel choices. So the platform has been built uniquely for scuba divers to solve that kind of what, where, when, and who when planning your holidays, what marine life you want to see, where's the best place to see it, right? Yeah, exactly. When's the best season, and then ultimately who you stay, cruise, dive with. And then we you can kind of personalize your package through the platform, and then our expert travel team is on hand 24/7 to kind of assist with all the travel requirements, which are especially important in today's travel climate. So we're here just to help with all that as well.
Earning their pennies right now.
Yeah. And then we've also just added a new kind of option onto our site, which we're really excited about, which we've called Eco Ventures. And these are a selection of kind of positive impact experiences where travelers can get involved in ocean conservation either through internships or joining expeditions or just simply as citizen scientists. And it gives everyone an opportunity to have a really deep experience while on holiday, but also making a positive impact. So we're really, really excited about that. So that's been the last 4 years or so of building and growing and seeking investments and getting people believing in us and coming on the journey with us. So yeah, it's been a big 4 years. But
Congratulations.
I can give a bit more of the original background, I guess.
I think it'd be really interesting to see where.
Sure. So I guess I had the lucky of time of, when younger, going on holidays with family and going snorkeling with my dad, and there were always lovely moments. It's always been a bit of an ocean baby in a way. But I kind of best kind, yeah. But I then, after finishing school, I went on a research trip to Madagascar for 3 months, and that's where I learned to dive. I started taking photos. We were working to help identify a biosphere area. So it was great kind of citizen science research again as well. And that really got me hooked. And I cancelled, much to my parents' concern, going to university. And I ended up taking a job opportunity out in Asia as a underwater photographer and videographer. And what was meant to be 1 year became 5 or 6 very quickly. And I had an amazing time traveling all over Asia, diving, working with either hotels or conservation organizations or tourism boards, trying to tell stories and get people excited about the oceans. So that was a wonderful time.
And perhaps not always the route that some people might think to take, to have those sort of technical skills of being, and creative skills of being a photographer and videographer, that you can use that to earn money and fund your getting those experiences, especially when you're young as well. And contacts.
I think I don't have a classic marine biology degree background or anything.
So many people don't.
But being a photographer or a videographer, you want to capture the stories, you want to show behavior, you want to give people that window into the underwater world. So you're almost forced to become a marine biologist because you need to know your subjects intimately, you need to know where they live, you need to know kind of what environments they like, what behaviors you could potentially capture. So you're forced almost to kind of just keep absorbing information, which is fantastic. And then also being in the not a chore, no, it's better doing it in person than from a textbook. And then on those travels, it was, you then start seeing the human impact and what we're doing, and you see, the kind of education issues that need to happen in certain places to improve things. And I think that's where ZuBlu came along in my head, that I saw there was an opportunity to help travelers do better, make better travel choices, and sort of really got me excited. But I lacked a lot of skills back then, so I went back to the UK, did a degree in business and accounting, did a job in a financial services company where I was a kind of a dog's body, jack of all trades kind of guy, and that kind of gave me a lot of skills that I was kind of averagely competent at, which is quite useful when you're an entrepreneur, that you don't need to necessarily be the best at anything. You kind of having that passion, the idea, and being able to kind of bring everything together and push it forward the right way, I think is kind of enough.
Yeah, knowing what you need.
It seems to be working. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's well, that, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, I think when people have got that opportunity to to make the right choices, when they're given that platform or structure that they can, and obviously you've hit it all at the right time, because and people now really do want to. I think it's very unusual to find people, perhaps it's just my own echo chamber, but it's really unusual to find people who aren't actively seeking to make at least some choices that are better in and in some cases, lots and lots of choices that are more sort of planet positive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is an echo chamber. I think
No.
it's there. We did a survey with all of our database or community last year, and there was some really encouraging stuff that came. Some concerning stuff, but some encouraging stuff. So I guess the concerning stuff was we found that 85% of people still don't really know how to make better travel decisions. They don't really know what they're looking for. So there's a big amount of education and support that needs to happen there. But then the really nice bit was that 92% of them said that I want to become a more sustainable traveler, a more impactful, positive impact diver.
And you've
there's
got
this
the product
energy
to help
there.
them make the choices.
Well, yes, that's the aim. And it's just really, it's inspiring. I love being involved in helping our customers find experiences and then them messaging afterwards about their first whale shark or their first kind of it's just, that's when you know it's working, and that's what we want to do. So
it is really interesting. And just over the last few interviews we've done and other people that we're partnered with, is that sort of the wider aspect. Obviously, we're a marine conservation and education organization, but how broad that's becoming, and being able to, like you say, provide the solutions to the behavior that most people really want to do, and whether that's that's helpful for people, as customers, but also for people who are looking to make careers that, that it doesn't necessarily have to, if you're struggling to find opportunities in, being on a boat and collecting data and writing papers, and there's a more traditional marine biology thing, all of which is fantastic, of course, and we need it. But it's often a struggle to find those, especially as a paid job. Then, looking broader into the sort of eco travel and sustainable travel industry, especially in diving, there are opportunities there, for people, aren't there, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there is that classic route, I guess, but we're out in Asia. A lot of our investors are Asia-based. A lot of them have invested in us not because of the exciting opportunity in the travel sector we're in, but also because of the impact objectives we have within it. And there is a huge energy out here, especially.
That's fantastic to hear.
For ocean impact stuff, and there's a lot of investment going into all sorts of things. I guess there's a lot of classic stuff around, plastic and things, but tourism in particular, it really hasn't been latched onto and supported enough. And I think we need to have more of a conversation around the value tourism can have, and it can be positive. It's always seen as a sort of, can be very negative, but ultimately all these communities and destinations you go to, you can provide an alternative livelihood that isn't fishing and crafting. They realize the value in having a highly biodiverse and healthy environment, so that these sort of cycles of positivity start happening, which I think is really exciting.
Really exciting.
And a lot of these startups and things, it might not be a classic marine conservation job, but they have conservation and sustainability at their core. They want people coming in with knowledge and passion, and a lot of it isn't necessarily soft skills. I find are more valuable than anything. You can train someone how to use a CRM tool or do, but having someone who's on the journey, excited, passionate, going with you, that's the most important thing. Yeah.
I'm so with you there. I've been in positions where I've hired people in the past, and it's the stuff you can't teach, isn't it? This, and the enthusiasm, you also can't ignore enthusiasm as well. It's a sort of super skill, I think.
Yeah, it's infectious. I think we were chatting a little bit before the call, and you had an interview with Lauren Sparks, who runs Indo-Ocean project
Yeah.
in Indonesia, but she's also joined us as our kind of head of marketing. And her energy and enthusiasm and drive has been fantastic, and we couldn't have asked for anything better.
No, exactly. I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah.
Go, Lauren.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's running the company that you are, what's a typical day like, or perhaps the things you might do over a week? Days might be difficult to do just a day, but what are the kind of range of things you get to do?
Yeah, so I guess when my business partner Matthew Oldfield and I started, we had to do everything. It was just us, and we had to get involved with all of it. We've now grown pretty fast over the last year, so we're getting that organizational structure in place a bit more, and beginning to be a bit more focused. So I think, day to day, with generally just direction of the company, making sure we're making the right decisions, going the right way. Mainly just working with the team, making sure they're all aligned, empowered, excited. That's kind of the number one thing, and the main thing that keeps you awake at night, thinking about people and making sure they're okay. But then more specifically, I oversee the kind of the financing side, working with our investors, and getting funding in and growing the company that way.
Can't do it without funding.
No. So that's been a massive learning curve and very exciting one. And then I also oversee the kind of the technical team who build the site. So planning new product lines, getting all the documentation right, all of that. Plus there's strategy, new product development, new business. And then I love keeping my foot in the sales side of things as well, because that's where you get the kind of real rewards and positive feedback from it all. So
do you get to go in the water much these days?
Not as much as I'd like, but I have actually today just come back from a little holiday where we went up to Ahmed in northeast Bali, and I saw my first harlequin shrimp, which I've
I love
not
harlequin
seen.
Shrimp.
Yeah, I know.
I've
not seen one for years, even I've tried many times.
Did they have a little sea star?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there was one just like bench pressing a sea star and tossing it up in the air like a circus clown.
If people don't know what harlequin shrimp is, do a Google. They're just brilliant. They're tiny, and then they take down these enormous sea stars and sort of keep them alive so they can keep eating them.
Yeah. I guess they are very magical. You normally sort of have a larger one with a smaller one, and I guess it's sort of odd because you find them on muck diving sites. So you're looking for critters. There's generally kind of rubbery sites. It's all a bit manky, and then suddenly you come across these like pristine shrimp that are kind of glowing white with these iridescent blue panels. It's just like, what are you doing here? And what evolutionary path did you go down?
They literally don't care, do they?
Yeah, amazing. So that's a big bucket list tick this week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
We've had some comment from Marco, who says he's all in for conservation travel. Great. It also says, let me know if you need more investors. So I'll leave that one with you, Adam.
Okay. Yeah. Feel free to. I'd love to chat with anyone about anything and everything. So
great.
Feel free to email me at adam@zubludiving.com.
There you go.
And happy to chat. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you've told us about your background, and now you're running this company. And then so are there any skills that you use regularly now that perhaps you never thought you might need, but are actually the things that you wish maybe you developed earlier, or just surprised that you end up using those skills all the time?
I found this quite a hard one to think about. I think, I always knew when I was younger that I wanted to do my own thing, and I was very glad to go work for that financial services group and be the sort of CEO's dog's body, or executive assistant, and get to do all sorts. So it just put me into everything, and that gave me a lot of knowledge. and now we're in the entrepreneur world, the big cliche that you are learning every day does hold true. So I'm kind of hiding behind that a little bit.
No, well, that's fair. I mean, it's
I think it's the soft skills. I think that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one you can't learn in
because you're dealing with people
textbook
in the end, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest and most exciting challenge in a way. We've got team in Bali. We've probably got 10 or 12 different nationalities within the team. We've got multiple religious backgrounds. We've got people all over the world in different cultures, over in Costa Rica, Mexico, Vietnam. So getting to work with different people and what makes them tick, what gets them excited, what's key to them and what they want to do moving forwards. Understanding that is great, and that's one of the main challenges. And it's not, I guess you could call it a skill, but it's just something you have to do and learn to work with people. And
absolutely, I think that's great. I mean, and so many of our viewers, especially those who are perhaps at university, just finished university, and getting your first sort of on the rung of the first rung of the ladder in your career, it's a bit daunting, especially in the marine conservation world where it's super competitive. And do you have any advice for anybody stepping out into the world, into the world of work? Because I think that would be helpful for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard to stand out on CVs. It's really, I said I'd never do this when I was younger, or not. Yeah, and when it came to hiring people, that I wouldn't be this sort of militant person going through CVs and just chucking some aside because they don't tick all the boxes or they don't have the perfect degree or something. But what ends up happening when you do, I guess from my side, when you do put out an opportunity, you get so many. Sometimes you get so many people. It's not saying, but you get a lot of interest, and you have to start finding ways to narrow it down, and then you kind of fear that there are gems that you didn't speak to because they just didn't have one box checked, and that irks me. So I think the key is to try and find the other door, not straight through the front gate with a CV. It's trying to see whether there's someone or someone can make an introduction that gives a connection, and that
it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, especially, I mean, the marine world and the diving world is very small. So there's always probably like another door or a little side window that you could kind of sneak into, and that warm introduction means so much more than the CV you have, and it gets a conversation going. And it might not be, you might not fit for that role, but now you're on someone's radar.
Absolutely.
and you're there. It's kind of very much like when I started fundraising, they say you have to go and meet 100 investors, and I thought that's ridiculous. It won't take that long. It did take that long. and you have to get introduced because they're seeing thousands of other people trying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
what makes you special?
Exactly. So I think thinking about creative ways of doing that. If you can get to like events, obviously it's been a bit more challenging recently, but getting to events where there are people that are kind of important in the sectors or the areas you're interested in, getting to meet them there, going
to the dive shows and introducing yourself. And I'm that person that commented on your social media post, or or people who ask questions on our interviews, or it's just like a name that you say, I remember that.
So say WiseOcean holds an event and someone comes to meet Charlotte, and then they're applying for a job and they go, oh, by the way, Charlotte, did you know thing? And then it all starts falling in place.
I won't just give you the job because no, but I know exactly what you mean. I mean,
so it's that kind of creative routing through. It's I think sitting on job sites just submitting your CV over and over and over and over again is a fool's.
We also make sure you're tweaking it to the individual
Yeah.
Don't put the wrong company name in the email. Don't careful with that cut and paste.
We get so many of those.
Like
It's
weekly,
really bad.
weekly for us.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't look good.
Applying for one of our competitors, even like
Yeah.
to go, what? Yeah, what?
I mean, we all know everybody's doing it, but you don't. Just be careful with the cut and paste. That's all I'll say.
Attention to detail. That's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, funnily enough, and if anybody wants to do it, I've written a blog on our website. If people go to the job board and down to the careers advice, you'll see. And it's I can't remember how many ways it is. 10, 5, I can't remember how many ways to stand out, because, you know, especially if you're at university and you're in a marine biology course with 100 people on your course, you're all coming out more or less with the same degree to a greater or lesser extent. So, you know, how is it that you can be the one that's got something different? And so we've actually gone through all our 100 and must count them up, about 170 interviews that we've got on the site, on a text ones, and looked at all the advice that people are given to help them stand out. And so people, if people want to go and have a look at that, I'll put a link in the chat as well when we're done.
Yeah. Another idea in that area is, I mean, I sort of mentioned earlier that there's a huge amount of energy in the sort of blue economy now, a lot of investment going into that side of things. I mean, if you kind of go to get involved in the sort of investment conferences around impact or impact investment or something in that kind of world, the kind of startup world, you'll probably start finding that there's opportunities and jobs within growing startups that have just got funding.
Yeah.
It might not be, you know, the pure out in the field collecting data.
Those sideways routes in are the best routes in.
Exactly. And in one way, you could argue that you could end up having significantly more impact if you're getting involved in a scalable kind of company that's having broader impact rather than it just being, you know, one individual research project
really
somewhere.
Good, really good advice. Excellent. Yeah, I really like that.
And you'll also learn a whole load of other skills if you're kind of within a startup world. So I think it's a great route to go and explore.
Yeah, absolutely. And that might give you perhaps longer legs as well in terms of your career, and because what you want to do in your 20s and early 30s are not necessarily what you want to do. But I know you can never imagine being older when you're young, but it does happen. And you don't necessarily want to. Sometimes you physically can't do what you did when you were in your 20s either. So developing skills to give your career, you know, a bit of longevity as well, and to be able to kind of develop it is those skills are really useful.
And I think one of your questions there said, what would you tell your younger self? I think one thing is don't rush. It sort of it feels like everything has to happen straight away. Yeah. And it's not.
Go and be a videographer for 5 years.
Yeah, I don't like to think myself too old, but you do start realizing later that you know 5 years now, it doesn't really mean anything. No. And if you've spent 5 years earlier doing something that you're really excited about or really passionate about, and it giving you extra skills, then do it. And you know, the money and mortgages and whatever else you want later will come.
You spend the rest of your life paying your mortgage and everything else. No, absolutely. There is a sort of thing of like, oh, you know, I've got to go straight to university and I've got to do that, and then I've got to do my master's, and then I must get a job, and I must by 25 I've got to be set. And it's like, well, the secret is very few people actually manage to do that.
No, I'd say I definitely back up on the university thing. Because I didn't go until I was 25, but I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I really wanted. I was going to do geography because it was a broad subject that would allow me a lot of flexibility to maybe find certain modules or something. It was like me covering my bases. And I decided not to do it and went to Asia instead. But I didn't know. And then when I came back, I kind of knew, and I had the energy and the drive. Whereas, I mean, of course, it's fun, university, and it's a blast. But
in a previous life, I was an academic, and would see people come and join and do a degree later, whatever age it was, but not at
Yeah.
sort of 18 to 22 sort of age.
Yeah.
And whilst we had lots of people who came at 18, had a fantastic time and were brilliant and it was perfect for them, there were also lots of people who came at 25, 30, 40 who did it, and they did it for very different reasons, not just because it's the next thing, or they want to leave home, or whatever, or not everyone's like that, but it was life-changing for them, and they were brilliant students as well, because they were doing it for they were really committed to what they were doing, and they knew it was right for them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to wrap up with our last two questions, which are kind of impossible questions, and it might be that we've already had one of them, but I'm going to ask what your favorite marine creature is and your most unforgettable moment in the sea. Now, you've spent a lot of time underwater, I'm guessing, Adam, so there's going to be a lot to choose from.
Yeah, the favorite marine creature is really, really hard. I think
or just today's favorite marine creature, perhaps.
Today would be the harlequin. I think, as I mentioned earlier, like I just love getting a window into life cycles, getting to see behavior, mating, cleaning, hunting. So the kind of muck diving world is great for that, because it's very easy to get those windows. But I think manta rays are still my favorite. They've got a lot of charisma, and they can be playful. And you do get to see a lot of life cycles there as well. Well, not like, but behavior with cleaning or seeing them feeding and things like that. So that's always magical.
Fantastic.
And that kind of ties into my most unforgettable moment, which I think is probably why I choose manta rays. So I was shooting for a book on the underwater world of the Maldives, and I was on a dive site called Razdu Madivaru in Razdu Atoll. And I was there with a guide, and I was there to shoot. And then up out of the depths, I saw this sort of small manta coming up towards me. And as it got closer, we realized that it had a whole load of ghost net caught up in one of its cephalic fins and all tangled all in its wing. And it just swam straight up to me. And literally, can you help me? It kind of collapsed onto me.
Oh my goodness.
And I handed the camera to my guide, and then we sort of proceeded to try and pull all of the ghost net out of all the cuts, and you could feel it flinching as I was pulling stuff out. But it stayed, and we managed to free all of the ghost net from the manta ray, and it then hung around for about 20-30 minutes with us.
Rewarded you with some photographs.
Yeah, exactly. And it was manta rays are really aware. They normally very good at kind of on cleaning stations lifting their wings out the way and not touching people and things. But this one deliberately, it's really, it feels weird to say, but it was deliberately touching. Like it would come and tap us and things like that. And we just felt, it was a very magical moment. So
that's just awesome. It's giving me tingles. That's fantastic. What a brilliant experience, and so great that you're giving opportunities as well for other people to see those, have those experiences perhaps, or something similar around the world.
Hopefully without the ghost nets, but
hopefully without the ghost nets. Absolutely, But so things are a bit tricky, obviously, right now. Whereabouts can people go diving with you guys at the moment?
So the main countries that are open at the moment are Maldives, Red Sea. There's a lot of opportunity over in Pacific, Galapagos, Socorro, Mexico. There's a lot of amazing deals around right now, so it's a really good time to try and get underway there. Obviously, I know it's a challenge, but we're here to help answer any questions and solve things.
It's sort of going in the right direction, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back a bit here and there, but I think we're all heading in the right direction now, hopefully.
I think it's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and we're certain it's not a train. So I think we're a couple of months away in some other destinations. There's also opportunities within the eco ventures side of things that these organizations are able to organize special visas for you to be able to come in and do volunteering or internship programs. So there are some sort of non-holiday style opportunities as well, where you can come and get involved in conservation work and marine work, which is great.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And then once you're into Indonesia or somewhere like that, you can then travel and do some holidays afterwards. So there are those little side doors that
absolutely. Indonesia is such an amazing place to go diving. I haven't been yet, so
okay.
I'll be. I think
we'll have to get you over.
I might be on your website this afternoon. So brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much, Adam. That's been really, really good. Really exciting to hear what ZuBlu are up to. And I hope everybody watching has also enjoyed that. Please keep your eyes peeled for opportunities, including ZuBlu, on our newsletter and on our website. And also keep an eye out for more interviews we've got coming up. We're planning a whole bunch. So just keep an eye on. We'll always be in our events and so on our Facebook page. And ZuBlu, you can find them all over the internet and social media as well.
Yep.
ZuBlu.
BLU.
So easy to find, and we will bring that to an end. So thank you so much to Adam, and goodbye to all of our viewers there. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.